joguinho muito interessante, igual que eu trouxe daquela última vez há muitos anos atrás. O Super Liminal, que lembra, esse é um jogaço. E esse também é. Eu falo que é parecido, apesar de não ser a mesma ideia, mas na minha concepção é parecido. Esse jogo é de Stanley Parable. Aí tem um narradorzinho, nós temos que seguir o que o narrador fala. You know? Mas também a gente pode não seguir, aí pode acontecer umas coisas secretas e etc. Se a gente ficar parado no início do jogo, tem um negócio secreto também. Eu acho, não sei, tá ligado? Simbora! Começar a gameplay. Escolha um idioma para a legenda e os textos na tela. Confirmar. Você jogou The Stanley? Mano, aquele copo, viado, Stanley. Parábola? Parábola? Bora pesquisar aqui qual é o significado. No Google Tradutor, velho. Mais confiável que isso, impossível. Será que o Pug vai aparecer? A parábola de Stanley. Você já jogou The Stanley Parable antes? Before? É before, né? After é depois. Não, gente, não joguei The Stanley Parable antes. Ajuste o controle deslizante até o computador quase não esteja visível. Alright, baby. Alright, baby. Ainda tô enxergando. Mas é quase, então não vai deixar tipo aqui, tá ligado? Insira a hora atual. Putz, tem essa parada da hora também, né, viado? Muito foda, muito foda. No caso, a hora influencia no jogo em algumas partes. É 7h30. Credo, eu não quero ouvir minha voz. Observações. Informações e habilidades apenas são acessadas a partir do meu principal. Alright, baby, alright, baby. Oh my god, tem one viewer. Caraca, Inception! Enviar pra Elo, Delix, Elix, Foxes, Shumelix, Chures. O celular tá travando, gente. Calma, meu celular tá travando. Não tem ninguém me assistindo, mas nós finge que... Fígaro. Tô me arrumando pra sair do trabalho agora. Caraca, ele se arruma pra sair do trabalho? Que acho. Embora, tô entendendo nada que os caras estão. Never the end is.
This is the story of a man
Essa
named
história é de um
Stanley.
homem chamado Stanley.
Stanley worked for a company
Stanley
in a
trabalhava
big
para uma
building
empresa em
where
um
he
grande
was
prédio. E nessa
employee
empresa
number
ele era
427.
funcionário número 427.
Employee number
O trabalho do
427
funcionário número
job was
427 era sim.
He sat at his desk
Ele
in
ficava
room
sentado em sua mesa na
427,
sala
and he
427
pushed
e apertava
buttons.
botões em um teclado.
Orders came to him
Ele recebia
through a
ordens por
monitor
meio de um
at
monitor em
desk,
sua mesa,
telling him what buttons
informando
to
quais
push,
botões
how
apertar,
long to
por
push
quanto tempo apertar
and
e em que ordem apertar.
This is what employee
Isso é o que o funcionário
427 did
427
every
fazia
day,
todos os
every
dias,
month,
todos os
of
meses,
every year.
de todos os anos. Embora outros considerassem tal tarefa como algo de cortar o coração, Stanley elaborava todos os momentos em que as ordens chegavam, como se tivesse sido criado exatamente para esse trabalho. Stanley era feliz, porque ele foi criado para esse trabalho. Foi então que, um dia, algo muito peculiar aconteceu, algo que mudaria Stanley para sempre, algo que ele jamais esqueceria. Ele estava em sua mesa há mais ou menos uma hora, quando percebeu que nenhuma ordem parecia haver chegado ao seu monitor. Ninguém apareceu para dar instruções, marcar uma reunião e nem mesmo dizer oi. Nunca em todos os anos da empresa algo assim havia acontecido. Um completo isolamento como esse. Algo evidentemente estava claramente chocado e paralisado. Stanley se viu capaz de se mover por um longo tempo. No entanto, quando voltou a si e recuperou seus sentidos, ele levantou de sua mesa e saiu de seu escritório. No caso, I am Stanley. Nós somos o Stanley. Será que eu faço isso ou eu fico parado? Vou ficar parado, mano. Bora ver o que acontece se eu ficar parado. Se o narrador me xinga. Vamos ficar aqui por mais uma hora, tá ligado? A parábola de Stanley. O meu me dá dor de barriga. E vai falar nada, vou ficar aqui olhando pra tela do negócio. Esse somzinho me dá agonia. Acho que eu vou levantar. Já tô levantado, right? 427, olha que bonitinho. Porra, que bonitinho. Nossa, que barulho de teclado. Olha, esse teclado é mecânico, não sei se é mecânico, membrana, não sei se é de membrana. Mas tá lento. Melhorou, deixa assim. Controle ligado, português. Acho que vou habilitar a retícula. Pra eu saber um ponto certo de onde olhar. Oxi! Eu atravessei a cadeira. Xixi, foi barulho de teclado, velho. Olhar pro teclado. Cara, L2 agacha. L2 e L1. Alright. What? I hate English. Não sei em inglês pra completar a frase. Beleza, vamos sair. Gente, é o 427. Não tem ninguém aqui. Todos seus colegas de trabalho haviam ido embora. O que isso poderia significar? Stanley decidiu até a sala de reunião, talvez ele só tivesse esquecido de verificar. Mano, o cara fala muito rápido. O importante é ele procurar, se ele não conseguiu encontrar rastro algum de seus colegas de trabalho. Oh my god, cadê meus colegas de trabalho? Eu não acho nenhum deles, tinha um ligado, aquilo era um raio. Stanley andava por todos os cantos, virando cada pequeno detalhe. Nada fazia diferença. Ele não conseguia avançar de forma alguma sem entendimento da situação. Oh my god, por que está branco lá fora? Será que é porque é o limbo e o jogo foi feito assim? Você não pode saltar! Não, sério, nós ativamos essa opção. Deixa eu pular! Obtenha seu primeiro troféu, concedido por obter qualquer um dos troféus pela primeira vez. Deixa eu pular! Não consigo pular! Balinha de teclado. É sério que não dá pra pular? Mano, é costume, viado. De rocha. Bora ver quais são os troféus que tem. Eu fiquei curioso agora. Não parece muito. São 10 troféus. Conclua a Stream Powerball, descrição do troféu teste substituições. Sai do jogo e reinicia. Joga Stream Powerball, início ao fim de uma terça-feira. Eu tenho que chegar terça-feira pra isso funcionar. 888 infinito. O que 888 significa também não sei. Clique 5 vezes na porta 430.
Oh, please.
Por
Are you
favor,
really
você
just
está
doing this for the
fazendo isso apenas
trophy?
pelo troféu? Clicar após 5 vezes, é isso que você acha que vale um troféu?
No,
Não posso entregar esses méritos assim de mão beijada. Por meros 5 cliques. Vamos supor que você clica na porta 20 vezes. Eu diria que é esse tipo de esforço que merece reconhecimento. Eu devo dizer que ainda não estou sentindo satisfação de testemunhar o verdadeiro esforço por uma causa nobre. Talvez 50 cliques resolvam. Sim, acho que 50 cliques está de bom tamanho. Não, ainda não sinto nada. Eu quero que esse troféu signifique alguma coisa. Tem que ser uma verdadeira recompensa pelo valioso. Quero um pouco de um entusiasmo. Quero um compromisso, uma vontade de ir até o fim. Puxa, o que custar. Por que você não dá 20 cliques na porta? 417. Porra de porta 417. Não tem 417. Não, vou continuar. É 417. Deixa eu ver aqui essa parada aqui na porta. Conclua a Stanley Power em pelo menos 4 minutos 22 segundos, sem incluir o tempo de carregamento. Caraca, tem que fazer speedrun, viado. Campeão mundial de configurações. Enfrenta todos os controles deles antes de configuração do menu para todos os números disponíveis. Defina todos os controles deles antes na configuração do menu. Controles deles antes. Interagir, pausar, agachar, mover, escolher. Ah, é tudo no máximo, não é isso que ele quis dizer? Mas tem que aplicar? Mano, acho que foi tudo, viado. Não, deve ter mais. Jogabilidade. Não, deve ter mais. Puta merda, tem mais. Não tem mais. Não tá no máximo. Não, está em inglês. Português. Não funcionou, velho, o troféuzinho. Caraca, por que tá acabando enorme? Cara, ainda tá grande. Eu não iniciei a porrinha do bagulho. Tá, ele falou quarto 417. Aí, muda até o bagulho de inglês pra... A gente deixa no 80, aqui 7. Certo, retículos. Enfim, não tem que apertar mais nessa porta. É uma porta 417, olha disso. Mano, pra cá tá diminuindo, tá ligado? Aqui, ó.
Oh, great. Now,
Ah, tá sem legenda! Como é que eu vou descobrir o que o cara tá falando?
go click a few times
Ótimo,
on
agora
door
clique algumas vezes
437.
na porta 437. Mano, tá de sacanagem com a minha cara, né, viado? 437 deve ser pra lá, aqui, velho. 4B6. 437 subiu.
Excellent. I think
Excelente,
we're
acho que
getting
estamos fazendo
somewhere.
algum
Now,
progresso.
door
Agora passo
415. Let's give it 10 clicks or
415, que
so.
tal 10 cliques, que outra vez mais. 415, 415. Caralho, aumenta. 415, esse é o próximo andar.
Now, back to door number 437.
Ah, filho da puta!
Let's see. How about you click
Oi,
on,
é que
well,
tava
I don't
tudo
know,
lá na bem,
the copy
na
machine.
copiadora.
All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're
Parece
getting
muitos jogos
somewhere.
diferentes, acho que estamos chegando em algum lugar. Ele não falou essa, ele falou 417. Ué! Ele excluiu a porta? Cadê a porta? Porra, não vou lembrar, eu sou idiota. É 417, 417 era ali. Ou devia ser?
Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk.
Vou clicar na mesa dele. Desk? Não tô interagindo. Subi.
Yes! This is great! You're putting it all on the
Você tá
line,
dando tudo
Stanley. I like that.
difícil,
All
depois de
right,
ver
let's
tudo
keep
bem.
it
Vamos
up. Go give
continuar.
me a few clicks on door 416.
416.
We've almost got it! Now the
Vai
copy
se fuder,
machine, do that one again!
Porra, tudo por um troféu, viado.
Finish it off, Stanley! 5 clicks on door 430!
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes!
Caraca, não boto
That
fé!
felt amazing. Oh, you really earned it,
Realmente
Stanley.
mereceu isso.
Nothing could hold you
Tenho a
back.
impressão
Yes,
que
I'm very
nada
proud of how
pareceu,
far
como
we've
tudo-
come today.
Consegui o troféu dourado! Tudo por um troféu de ouro! Não jogue Stanley Parable por 10 anos. Descrição do troféu. Muito raro. 8,5 dos jogadores conquistaram. Não tem aquela paradinha de dica de troféu aqui? Não tem como ser 10 anos. Deve ter alguma coisa pra burlar essa merda. Bagulhinho de troféu ajuda. Acho que não tem nesse jogo. Dicas. Não tem. O que é esse jogo? Só pra estressar a mente, né? Calma aí. Acho que configuração geral. É do menu. Bora ver aqui o menu. Nossa, muda lá dentro do bagulho de créditos. Deve ter alguma coisa no crédito secreto. Não vou entrar no Discord, nem no Twitter, nem no teu site, vagabundo. Ainda o menu. Temos no menu. Falar com o menu, bora mexer. Visa tudo pro máximo. É isso que o jogo faz. O dia tá no máximo, o comando tá no máximo também. Gostei de simplificado. Unidade mínima. Selecionar, aplicar e alternar. E aí, mano, eu fiz o que tu pediu. Não sei como é que pega esse troféu. Iniciar essa porra. De novo, os policinhos. Tá certo. 87. Daqui. Amor.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Pulei o tutorial. Ainda mais que tô sem ninja. O tutorial não, né? Provavelmente ele já falou isso antes. Não era esse ponto, era. Acho estranho isso aqui. Assim, não. Acho que ele fica um quadradinho depois. Porque era literalmente um. Tá bom, assim, ó, não está o ponto aqui. Tá bom. Então.
All of his co-workers were gone. Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the trophy? Click a door 5 times? Is that all you think a trophy is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks? Now, suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Cara, tu me deixa irritado. Eu não vou fazer o que tu quer.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
Cuidado. Do not lie. If you are lying right now, stop. Então tá bom. Lie é o quê? Não minta? Se você estiver mentindo, agora pare. Não sei. I need the card. Perigo! Do not jump from the car or lift your emotion because of... Então tá bom. Exato. Ah, mas não segurei, graça. Eu não consigo pular. Vamos seguir por caminho que dá.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy.
Eu não sou seu inimigo, acredite, eu não sou. Ter confiança em outra pessoa pode ser algo difícil. Mas o fato é que dessa vez a história não foi
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley.
Bom trabalho, Stanley. Todo mundo acha que você é mesmo muito poderoso. Gostei. Eu queria saber, eu fiquei curioso.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Vou fazer a primeira parte em que a gente ignora tudo que ele quer que a gente faça.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nope. Depois eu volto pra ver qual é aquela sala.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Perigo. Error here. Sempre aqui? Não sei. Não sou bom tradutor de inglês, né? 2v1.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Por que então tu escolhe... Mano... Tu aí... Faz uma porta vermelha que eu entro.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Você quer fazer entrar, é?
All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I'd written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing, because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me? You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Faz teste.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. A 1? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a 1? That's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
É porque eu entrei, parece que eu só fui pro mesmo lugar.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype.
Ué?
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Nossa, que inferno, velho.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game, just to ease the pain? Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Caraca!
What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation? Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Eu tô ligado, não é o joguinho que o Alan jogou? Acho que eu já vi o Alan jogando esse jogo e dá medo depois. Você quer me assustar? Não consigo pular de qualquer forma. Ah, gostei muito, é bonito, olha. É, eu lembro, tinha outro cara na torre, ele se comunicou pelo rádio e tal. Aí tem uns cultistas que vão tentar matar a gente. Legal, cara. Eu acho. Talvez seja. Sei mesmo. Eu só tô lembrando de algo. Parece. Até agora tá legal, tá melhor que o teu jogo.
Oh no. No, 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 it can't be.
O que foi?
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly, block it off. Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You really wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls. Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
Rocket League!
See, this is exactly what I had. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
Extremamente impressionado.
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Não, eu quero sair daqui. Caraca, tô correndo na chutada, mano. Eu sou mega estilo. Será pra eu sair daqui? Ele falou que poderia ter uma forma de sair.
Hold on.
Espera, o que você está fazendo?
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that.
Você não vai conseguir Stanley. Volte aqui, ainda temos banco. Caralho, é o limbo, mano. Faz de cabinetes. Peeling cabinetes. Ele tá ali em cima. Que legal. Beta. É do beta. Bem realista. Caraca, eu tô entrando nas backrooms, viado. Que dia. O meu único medo é de tomar susto. Com a mão no cu já aqui.
I wonder what he found.
O que será que ele encontrou?
If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Eu posso esperar.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Bora seguir o que ele quer agora?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
If you got the feeling none was... Nossa, mas bonito aqui, lá embaixo é uma merda, viado. Qual é? Meu Deus, que maldade, mano.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Começou as bizarrices. O criador dessa parada gosta. Sacanagem. Loading.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word Escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Porra, né, que eu ia morrer. Tô vivo. Não tô vivo, não!
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Não quero ver.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Valeu, moça narradora do bem.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Caraca, profundo, hein? Planta do escritório. E aí, aqui começa o jogo. Escolher as portas. Tem como achar a porta 1, 2 e 3? Dois, 4, 3, 1. Estamos no final em que Stanley causaria um campo de batalha lutando contra alienígenas. O jogo de ação ganharia consciência e declararia a guerra contra o narrador. Logo após começarmos, sua condição percebemos que era algo jocoso e irônico demais para o tom do jogo. Além disso, algumas pessoas interpretariam como se fosse uma forma de tirar sarro dos fãs de jogos de tiro, e que não era a nossa intenção. Ah, seria legal. Nossa, eu peguei um final, tipo... Final que é os créditos, tá ligado? Anúncios da Ultra Deluxe. Mas tá tudo do jogo. Tem um lugar que eu nunca nem fui, tá ligado? Final da Liberdade. Mesa de contagem regressiva. Caraca, tem muito afinal. Finalzinho. E esse final aqui, final mortoso. Final que a gente morre.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me.
No,
you can
no,
still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Turn off your PlayStation. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
Tem algo secreto aqui assim. Isso é só com teclado, sei lá, pra poder escrever com outras palavras.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here, it's, left. Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down, right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way. No, 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 no. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top. All of his co-workers were gone. Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere, or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
É muito super lindo, velho.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Ai.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Não tem porta.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything? Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Não tô entendendo mais nada.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time, I have to restart.
Eu não vou seguir essa porra, velho. Stanley Parable Adventure Line.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that? No, I'm down. We're leaving it up to the line from now on.
Linha TM.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office, in fact, the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Não dá copyright, né? A música essa tá alto pra cacete, filha do Marquinhos. Isso eu ainda posso mudar. Eu não sei o que tá acontecendo. Aqui o 012. Caraca, a gente chegou nas primeiras fotos. Deu uma loucura. Mano, eu queria chegar na porta no meio da rua, né? Que loucura! Ué?
Wait, cut the music, go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story.
Será muito importante para a história no
you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't
Por
want to miss
quê?
anything.
Sou muito bom em memorizar coisa. Uma samambaia? Então tá bom.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell? Oh, no, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Well, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Restart now.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Alright.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
É foda a gente girar por um lugar inteiro, tá ligado? E não chegar pra vir nunca. Aí do nada até chega.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
A linha virou uma entidade que tá perseguindo a gente, tá ligado?
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny
Tipo, eu entendo mais ou menos o que ele fala e é muito foda. Final da confusão, você está jogando o final da confusão por 17.
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really?
Tô jogando por 18 minutos, né? Tô jogando por 18
I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait, you know. I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
What? E na última inicialização eu morro.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Viado.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Eu li parte do bagulho, mas eu não lembro.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings. Desperate, Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Agora eu não lembro. Tô com medo de encontrar ele de novo.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Find out?
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building. Stanley's co-workers, the lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Fire Jack pegou fogo. Wow.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all. Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes, he had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
É o final feliz! É o Good the End. Vence o jogo, o troféu conquistado. Uau.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he
olhava para baixo?
Why did doors
Porque as
close
portas se fechavam
automatically
automaticamente
behind
atrás
him
dele,
wherever he went?
onde quer
And
que
for that
fosse.
matter, these
Por
rooms
falar
were
nisso,
starting to look pretty familiar.
vocês só
Were they
estão
simply
começando a ser
repeating?
familiar.
No, Stanley
Não,
said to
repetindo,
himself,
não
this is
distante,
all
não.
too
Isso é estranho
strange, this
demais.
can't be real.
Não pode ser
And
real.
at last, he came to
Por
the
fim, chegou à
conclusion
conclusão
that
que
had
ele
been on
estava
the
na
tip of his
ponta da
tongue.
língua.
He just hadn't
Ele
found the
só
words
ainda
for
não
it.
havia encontrado as
I'm
palavras para isso.
dreaming!
Estou sonhando!
He yelled.
Ele gritou.
This is
Isso
all a
não passa de
dream.
sonho.
Oh, what a relief
Quero sentir
Stanley
grande
felt
alívio por
to have
finalmente
finally
encontrar
found an
uma
answer,
resposta para
an
essa
explanation. His
Explicação.
co-workers weren't actually
Aquela cara tinha
He wasn't
desaparecido.
going to lose his
Ele
job.
perdeu o
He
emprego,
wasn't
a
crazy
cara
after
não estava
all.
louco.
And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating
Dizendo
everything
tudo
that
que eu
I'm
faço
doing
e
and thinking?
penso.
Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal.
Eu sou normal.
Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Estou bem. Bosta.
Stanley began screaming.
Please,
someone wake me up. My name is Stanley.
I
have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? And everything went black.
Tudo ficou preto.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't.
Todo final ele morre, mano.
It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Joguinho não é normal.
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall.
Uma pintura, uma foto? Esse início não, início normal.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Picture. Ele falou algo diferente, amigos. New content?
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Eu nem quero saber, DLC. Estou muito imerso neste jogo.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Quero jogar GTA 6, tem GTA 6 aí.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Pelo menos esse velho não morreu, o narrador, né, em 10 anos. Não mudou muito a vida.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if the... Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Não boto fé! Salto gestante. Eu tenho 4 saltos. Ah, tá. Não bota fé, dá pra pular! E o cacete do jump circle. Dá pra pular! Errador, dá pra pular! Eles falaram que não podia, mentira. Exercício do caramba, tá? Não jogo mais. Explode, caralho.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Bom, dá pra pular, isso já é muita coisa pra mim.
Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And if... Oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it.
Mano, é tipo, essa é a parte da DLC, tá ligado? Pelo que eu tô entendendo.
That's it?
Ah, não.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's trophies, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Leva minha opinião em consideração. The new cottage. aparece primeiro.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Alright.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Bons tempos. Foi o último que eu vi.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing.
Não é nada.
It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Ele tá depressivo. Pessoa do ano. E não mais tô estudando. Ainda não achei mais o círculo do povo.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition along to the PlayStation, boom, done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise.
This is wrong. Minha porta vermelha.
These were simpler times, Stanley. What I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no, oh God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Não recomendado, mas também nem me deu trabalho de jogar esse jogo até o fim. Nada desagradável e sem graça. Seu humor só te fala que segue irritar mais do que divertir.
I'm not trying to be
funny. Ai, caramba, que susto.
I'm trying to make a serious
Você quer cair minha TV na minha cara,
I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Não, mas eu tô achando meio chato também, não tô mais gostando. É literalmente por conta da febre do TikTok. Muita falta de dopamina no cérebro, tá ligado? Muito calmo. Talvez tu só tem que fazer uma coisa de novo. Não é legal. Essa geração de agora, tipo, descobrir as coisas é legal pra cacete, velho. Mas fica meio tedioso depois de um tempo. Isso vai me andar de cabeça.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can.
Esse cara é zoando, ok.
This is actually quite
quem deu hate no bagulho.
Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
No,
what's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. Oh, you're back, you see? You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourish. Well, there's sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes. It's not Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer. And my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times. And there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button. Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how... Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time.
Amei esse botão. O narrador morreu, gente. Bom, vamos passar o tempo. O narrador morreu. Yep.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain. The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
GG. Carai, criou uma árvore, ponto. Tá, porra. Então, pô, o bagulho virou pó, velho. Não entendeu nada. Tá ficando... Pula, caralho. Porra, tá torto. Cara, me deu medo aquela última parte, velho. Não dá pra clicar mais. Ok, não dá pra reiniciar mais. Tá, porra, a gente tá no deserto. Direção daquela zona. Bora na direção do sol. Iniciou ela depois, quando a gente escureceu. mais pés.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
New content.
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
O pior que dá pra iniciar o jogo novamente. Eu acho que inicia tudo, tá ligado? Então ainda vai pra esquerda agora. Content. New content.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable.
The Stanley Parable 2! No way, viado.
Yes, you see,
isn't
this far superior to a measly port with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
They're real. They're back to the...
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Pô, mano, os caras fizeram a feature do pulo, viado. E nem dá pra pular, mano. Qual é?
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
Caralho. Ó, dá pra comprar os bagulho. Deixa eu ver. The button that says the name of the player. No way. Cadê o botão?
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name of Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as
Jim.
Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first. Now, allow yourself to become Jim. Imagine yourself...
Jim.
All right, fine, whatever. It's just a meaningless button that says Jim. Are you happy now? Get out of here. I'm done with this button. Why don't you go humiliate me in front of a different feature that I worked very hard on? Maybe I'll only let people named Jim play the Stanley Parable too. An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, yes, it will go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Tem epílogo. Caramba, eu nem explorei ali embaixo. Essa parte final que a gente tem que ir, talvez. Não. Buraco infinito. Caraca, o rosto do nosso personagem.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?